People are asking questions after a Catholic school in Ohio somehow received millions of dollars in grant money, which is supposed to be earmarked towards water development, and ended up using some of it for anti-abortion advocacy. So this story is wild, okay? And unsurprisingly, it started during COVID when the whole world lost their minds. All right. Now, back in 2022, Congress passed the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. All right. Now, that sent money all over the country, and about $250 million of it ended up in West Virginia's Water Development Authority. That's good. Hey, yes, building water tanks and, redoing pipes and things like that. That's great. That's great. Now, West Virginia distributed it via what they called the Economic Enhancement Grant Fund. Okay, some of it, anyway. So how it works is that nonprofits or government agencies could apply for some of that money to build things like a water system, a wastewater sewer system, a stormwater system, or an economic development type project. So, all those things, I think barring the last one, pretty straightforward. But what is an economic development type project? Well, that's where the ambiguity lies, right? And that's where this Catholic school comes into play. About $5 million of that money ended up being awarded to the College of St. Joseph the Worker, a private Catholic trade school based in Steubenville, Ohio, not in West Virginia, who got this money, right? So this was in Ohio. Now, the project consisted of an acquisition, construction, and equipping of multiple education facilities for the in-class and on-site training of the 5 major construction trades of HVAC, carpentry, masonry, electrical, and plumbing. Oh, okay, so that's how it relates to water, including areas for the tools and equipment storage, materials for training, etc. Okay, so that money, $5 million, went to the school, which part of what they teach is for people how to be plumbers. Okay, all right. And look, I'm in favor of teaching people skilled trades. All right, so hey, I'm totally cool with that, and I think there's a need for that. But a private Catholic school, I don't know, seems a little strange to me. Seems a little sketchy. Okay, but look, you could say, yeah, but they were teaching people how to be plumbers, so maybe eventually some of them might build something water related in West Virginia. Yeah, okay, but that's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? and again, it's not in West Virginia, it's in Ohio. So, yeah, you might not benefit the state at all, not directly. And maybe sometime in the future, maybe one of those students or a couple of those students might build something in Ohio. It's weird. It's very shady. And when you look into more of the details, it gets even worse, even shadier. So now, turns out this school just opened up in the fall. So it wasn't even open when they made these funding requests, okay? So there are no graduates yet from the program. So no real record of, what the students did after they graduated, because they didn't graduate. They haven't done any plumbing work in Ohio or West Virginia or anywhere. So that's not good. Now, and according to the grant application, this is required by reporter Stephen Allen Adams of the Parkersburg News and Sentinel. The grant went for more than just the construction of the buildings. According to a FOIA request from several state agencies, the college's grant proposal for the $5 million would allow the school to expand across the river into West Virginia for several training programs. Oh, okay. So that's how they got West Virginia's money in Ohio. A satellite campus, scholarships, and the creation of a think tank focused on social conservative public policy. We're going to get back to that. All right. But specifically, the grant would be used as followed. $2,150,000 to create a construction and real estate development company in Wyerton, West Virginia. Okay. $1,650,000 to recruit West Virginia students through scholarships and dorms, with the expectation that about 20% of them would return to the state, from Ohio after graduation. Wow. $200,000 to create a second campus in West Virginia. $1 million for advocacy activities. Specifically, they intended to expand into bioethics, about $250,000, and hope to build a research facility called the Center for the Common Good in order to support broadly life-affirming policy in West Virginia. It's about $750,000. So, wait a minute, it's almost $1 million of public money that's been sent to a think tank, essentially, an advocacy group to promote anti-choice conservative policy. And so they asked for that money. And West Virginia's like, oh yeah, here you go, homie. Have at it. Enjoy. Wow. Now, of course, the school is just registered as a nonprofit. So that means that any advocacy would have to exclude lobbying, right? Now, the problem is that this so-called research center would be doing just that. In fact, they're admitting, like, yeah, obviously we're doing advocacy. And so, yes, that involves lobbying. It said that it would focus on conservative public policy using research, op-eds, speeches, educational tools, presentations, and proposals for the West Virginia legislature. That's lobbying, as far as I understand it. What do they mean by lobbying? Again, it's total corruption in your face. Now, how did this happen? How did they even get the money in the first place? I mean, yes, they asked for it, right? But like, how were they allowed to get it? Now, when college officials announced that they had received the grant, they said that they planned to invest $10 million in expansion, with half that money now coming from West Virginia taxpayers. The press release didn't say anything about the advocacy aspect of the grant, because of course not. They're not going to admit that. Okay. What also isn't mentioned is how that $5 million grant is far more than the school's actual net worth. According to the Coal Valley News, the $5 million is nearly double the $2,583,421 that College of St. Joseph the Worker, Inc. reported as its fair market value of all assets for calendar year 2023, according to its IRS tax records. College of St. Joseph the Worker, Inc. reported receiving $806,701 in contributions, gifts, and grants for calendar year 2023, less than a sixth of the state's $5 million grant. And now they plan on getting another $10 million? How? Well, Republican West Virginia lawmaker Delegate Pat McGeehan, who was directly involved in facilitating the school's grant application. So that's the guy who allowed it to go forward, right? He praised the move just before Christmas, saying, "I'm thrilled about this project for our people in the Northern Panhandle, especially for our young men and women." He added that this project was bigger than just infrastructure, saying the College of St. Joseph the Worker is unique insofar as it offers a holistic approach to shaping young men and women. One reason why I'm excited about it: nowhere in the United States is there an institution that simultaneously trains the mind in the humanities, like anti-abortion, advocacy, while also in the manual trades. Many of the problem our state suffers from are downstream of faltering local communities, weakened family bonds, and a younger generation without practical skills who are quite often steeped in university debt. I'll continue to do what I can to help reverse this trend. So basically what this guy is saying is that, hey, this school, it might build something water related, right? And if they do, well, then, they could use the rest of the money to train anti-choice and anti-LGBTQ activists. That's what they talk about was, we need to fix the family, right? Basically outlaw gay people, okay? And do literal lobbying for conservative causes. And that's what this is going to do. Oh, okay. Now, of course, when West Virginia officials were asked about this by reporters, they were essentially ignored. The governor's office literally avoided the question. This is from the office of Governor Jim Justice. CJ Harvey, communications director for Justice, says any additional education or ethical components mentioned in the application are secondary and fall outside the scope of the administration's main focus to get newly trained workers in the workforce as quickly as possible. Yes, but that wasn't the question. Okay. They're saying, hey, why is this school getting taxpayer money to do literal lobbying for conservative causes? It's secondary. Again, they're taking $1 million of this $5 million grant to do lobbying. It's got to be illegal, right? Yeah, probably. But one of the big problems is you have Republicans in charge that will not be looking into this at all. Look, all funds dispensed through the Economic Enhancement Grant Fund are supposed to be approved by 3 different cabinet officials, including the Secretary of Economic Development. One of the problems there is Executive Director Marie Prezioso said she didn't even have those recommendations on file. None. So how did this then get through if you don't have these recommendations? I don't know. But getting back to McGeehan, right? Now, he said that he needed more trade schools, right? Again, I don't disagree. But apparently West Virginia already has plenty of trade schools, including in the northern panhandle. And one school is not really going to change much. Whereas a more efficient use of the money would be to encourage those other schools, the trade schools that actually already existed at the time, to apply for the grants. They're already set up, and they're actually located in the state of West Virginia and not in Ohio. That would make more sense than throwing millions of dollars across the border to a startup. However, that is unless all you wanted to do from the get-go is to funnel taxpayer money into anti-LGBTQ and anti-abortion activism, which here seems to be the case. In a post online, State Senator elect Joey Garcia, Democrat, called this whole thing, quote unquote, unsettling. And the state ACLU said that, yeah, we're going to look into this. Tens of thousands of West Virginians lack clean drinking water. Funneling of $5 million in West Virginia water development funds to a highly partisan, out-of-state religious organization is reprehensible and wholly inappropriate, said the ACLU West Virginia Director Eli Baumwell. Public money should not be used to promote private religious interests in other states. We will be monitoring the situation and are prepared to intervene if necessary. And by intervene, he means launch a lawsuit. State Democratic Party Chair Delegate Michael Pushkin says this decision is an insult to every West Virginian who is struggling to access clean drinking water. West Virginia tax dollars should support clean drinking water and functional infrastructure, not funding for out-of-state pet projects. Hey, yes, but here's the kicker. There's not going to be an investigation. You know why? Because Republicans are in power. They run West Virginia. So, like, if they don't do anything, which they won't, then no one will. Barring, again, this lawsuit from the ACLU, which may force them to claw back some of that money from this private religious school. But overall, this is how Christian nationalism functions, okay? Uses public money to prop up religious organizations that are intent on stripping women and LGBTQ people of their fundamental rights, bodily autonomy. And it's so brazen because of how these Republicans, how corrupt they are, how openly corrupt they are. And they get away with it because Democrats don't have absolutely no power to be able to challenge them. I mean, look, story after story, you see in these states, these red states, even if Democrats get into power, oftentimes the legislature, the outgoing Republican legislature, tries to minimize the power that these Democratic politicians have. That's what happens. To strip power away from the governors, to strip certain powers from the legislature, if that legislature is not Republican. This is what they're doing in states. And this is what is allowing for stuff like this to happen. It is sick. It is obviously corrupt. And it's just another example of right-wing Republican America. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you become a member on our YouTube page, you become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.